Good morning, everybody. Welcome to an early edition of of Moving Markets. My name is Jeffry Dunyon, owner and founder of Safe Option Strategies. Glad to have you here, or glad to have you listening, because most likely you're listening a little later on. The markets have only been open for about 10 minutes. I usually do the presentation a little bit later in the morning when the market's been open for a couple of hours, but out of necessity and a schedule situation, I am doing it right now, and this is going to be a little bit shorter presentation. As we're into the first 10 minutes of the markets being open, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down about 50 points. Compared to yesterday, that's nothing. I mean, that is absolutely nothing. The Dow got down to 670 points down at what, in fact, I think I heard maybe 680 or 690 at one point in time yesterday. And there was a pretty big rally in the closing 30 minutes or so of the market that took us back to only being down 470 points at the close. 473, I think, was the final close. Now, you know it's a bad day in the U.S. stock markets when you're saying we only closed down 473 points. That is the worst day since early January. And I think when we were doing our presentation yesterday, we mentioned that it was probably the worst day since one of those real volatile swings that we had early in January when we were still trying to make that post-Christmas recovery. The dust is settling a little bit. Let me wrap up for you what is going on in a nutshell. We've had all this fallout from the China trade talks collapsing. We've had this concern that the Chinese are reneging on pretty much every part of the deal that they made. In fact, we've heard from several different people in the administration, people that, not the anonymous sources, not the someone we can't name who's close to the situation bullcrap, but the actual, some people in the administration have said as much, that China reneged. One of my students in Safe Option Strategies shared with me that he did a little bit of digging. And apparently the Chinese Premier Xi saw what the delegation had agreed to, and he was the one that said, no, we're not doing this, this, and this. I don't know those specifics, but in the midst of looking at that, he basically said, these things are not okay, and he's the one that was getting the delegation to renege a little bit. So with that being the case, you've got the delegation on their way to the United States right now. I still haven't heard with certainty whether the Vice Premier Liu Hu, I think is the name. He's a guy you've seen his picture on TV a lot. He is supposedly, I don't think anyone has confirmed whether he's coming back over. The delegation left without him early in the week. But he's coming back. He's allegedly coming back. And Trump sent out a tweet this morning saying they're coming back to finish a deal and to finalize a deal. There also was some breaking news early this morning that the official document had been filed to raise tariffs Monday morning, basically Thursday night at midnight, I assume Eastern time, but 12:01 a.m. Eastern time on Friday morning is when these 25% tariffs will go into effect, bumping up from 10% tariffs on about $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. It's a sticky situation. Nothing has changed from earlier in the week when we talked about what a sticky situation this is. You can make an argument, and you can make a solid argument on either side of what should be done. I think the tariffs are necessary to keep the Chinese at the table, to keep them talking to us, to keep things moving forward. I think without that threat of bigger tariffs, I think there's few people that would argue these tariffs are going to be worse for China than they are for us. They might ding our stock market short term. They might. They might cause a little consternation. Obviously that happened yesterday. But I don't think it'll be a massive hit to our economy or something that we can't weather. It could be a major hit to the Chinese economy. This could be something that's devastating to the Chinese economy. So they seem to be in the more tenuous position. They seem to have more to lose than we do. So making that side of the argument, I would say that it's right and it's correct for Trump to impose these tariffs, and that they need to come out. And then, on the flip side, I would say if you could do anything to keep these negotiations moving forward without raising tariffs, that would be better. I really think the administration is in a situation where they don't see a better way than these tariffs to keep things moving forward. So it's not an option. They've kind of got to do what they're doing. Just in this short 5.5 minutes that we've been recording, that you see me, if you're watching the video of this, you see me, I keep glancing up and to my right. The Dow Jones has moved into positive territory briefly a couple times. It's only down 2 points right now. It's been up 4 or 5 points, 7 points at one point in time. It's down 7 points right now. Very, very flat today. And I really think that is more than anything else, the dust is just settling. The big shock of the possibility of new tariffs and the deal, the trade talks sort of hitting a wall and falling apart. The shock effect came on Monday. It was exacerbated on Tuesday in a very dramatic way, and the dust is beginning to settle. If Friday morning comes and there has not been a reversal, here's what I think is going to happen. It's Wednesday. Today and tomorrow, one of those 2 days, or some comments on both days. I believe there are going to be some statements that come out from some of the high-ranking officials, some people like Kudlow or Lighthouser. They're the two that I keep mentioning. I know there's some other people directly involved in the trade talks, but Lighthouser is the one that's really in charge of the negotiations. I think someone who is in authority to make some comments, someone who has the ability to speak intelligently about the situation, is going to come out and say, we're back at the negotiating table. We've hit this speed bump. We're still moving forward. We're still ironing things out. This is what negotiations are. They're about back and forth, give and take. The Chinese tried to change some things. I heard somebody say yesterday, I don't remember who, I can never remember the names of these people that say it. I heard somebody say yesterday that this is a kind of the typical MO for China, that they get really close to something, whatever they're negotiating on, they get really close to something, and then in the 11th hour, they make I don't know what you call it, just a real last second attempt to change things. And that this is typical of what they do, and that whoever's negotiating against them has to be prepared for this, has to know that it's coming. It's hard for me to determine if we got caught off guard with this over the weekend, or if we actually knew this was coming. I don't know. It's hard to say. It feels like we got caught off guard with it, but maybe those people that are deep in the negotiations and intimately involved in it knew that it was coming and were prepared for this, and it's why Trump was ready to pull the trigger so quickly on new tariffs. I'm not certain of that. That's a guess on my part, but I think that's probably the case. Dow's up almost 10 points now, by the way. Okay, so that's what's going on with the markets. On the political front, same old, same old. You've got the Democrats now ratcheting up talk about impeaching Bob Barr, the Attorney General. They're talking about they're going to bring Mueller in. Mueller was their hero 12 weeks ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Mueller was their hero because he was going to deliver the goods on Donald Trump. He was going to come out with all this nasty, horrible information about Trump and all the evils that he had done. And they are so unbelievably disappointed in what actually happened that they're freaking out and just they're on such a rage-filled, nonsensical path right now. It's just unbelievable the way they're behaving, the way they're acting. They're going to, one congressman says Bob Barr needs to be thrown in jail and compelled to testify. Barr has basically thumbed his nose at Congress after he spent, I think, upwards of 12 hours being interviewed and interrogated by the Senate Judiciary Committee. I think it was the Judiciary Committee. After he went through the ringer with them, last week, one day, and really made them look like asses. I mean, let's be honest. He made them look so foolish. The Democrats that are going after him, the hypocrisy. Karl Rove, by the way, whether you like Karl Rove or not, I really like Karl Rove. He wrote an article. It's on Fox News. I doubt anyone else is carrying it because he's a contributor for Fox. Look up the article that Karl Rove had on there yesterday, where he exposes, just with Blumenthal from Connecticut, who called Barr a liar, and Blumenthal has lied for a decade or more about service in Vietnam, and the idiots in Connecticut just keep on voting him into office. Come on, people, my daughter and my son-in-law live in Connecticut. People in Connecticut, pull your heads out of your butts. Quit putting these morons in office. This guy lied about being an American soldier in Vietnam, and you keep voting for him. That's on you, Connecticut. Every stupid thing that comes out of this guy's mouth is on you, Connecticut. Anyway, he accuses Barr of being a liar and lying to Congress, and this guy has lied his butt off to everybody who has voted for him about his service in Vietnam. I mean, come on, get real. There's few things that are worse, in my opinion, than lying about your service and lying about what you've done for this country. That is abhorrent. But then you've got Kamala Harris, who goes off on some rant about prosecuting Barr, and this. The hypocrisy. She says, she talks about these crimes that the Trump administration has committed, but some of the what she did was she talked about some of the things that the Trump that Trump and his group did, and how they're criminal. And they're exactly the same as some of the crap that Hillary Clinton and her group did, but she does, no mention ever by Kamala Harris of anybody there being corrupt or committing a crime. I mean, it's just Karl Rove gives a couple of examples of some other stuff. You got to read his article from yesterday. Look it up. It's a very well written piece. But the hypocrisy of these Democrats, going after Barr, they want to go after Mueller now. The New York Times got their hands. I'm sure some a-hole at the IRS leaked it illegally. I wish every time somebody in a government office leaked something illegally, that they could be quickly caught and put in jail and the damn key thrown away. When you're on my tax dollar, you accept a government position, you have an obligation, you sign documentation agreeing that you're going to abide by certain rules and regulations. If things go through the proper channels and you get the proper permissions to release this kind of stuff, then by all means release it. If you know that there is something horribly nefarious going on, something overtly illegal, and you've got some damn good proof to back it up, okay, then I believe you should be protected by that whole whistleblower protection thing. But this is political vendetta. This is political animus. This is not anything that is sanctioned, that is noble. This is, you don't like Donald Trump, so you're breaking the law. I hope you get caught, and I hope you go to jail for a very long time, so that other a-holes that are thinking about doing what you're doing will think twice. It is absolutely pitiful what is going on. But anyway, someone leaked Trump's tax returns from like 1985 to 91 or 92, something like that, and showed that his companies, his casinos, his properties lost like $1.2 billion. 1 year there was like a $200 million loss. And as a result of these losses, he didn't pay taxes. The media wants to have a heyday with this. They want to turn this into something far bigger than it is. Here's the deal. Trump has already said to us, he's already told us that he took advantage of every legal loophole he could take advantage of. He has been audited multiple times. He is in the middle of an audit right now. Mueller had access to his tax returns for the better part of 2 years and spent $30 to $40 million of taxpayer money putting a microscope up his butt in every way possible, and came up with nothing that constituted a crime of any kind. So listen, Democrats, just keep down this path. Please, please, please do us all a favor and stay down this path. Don't get anything done. Don't get a bill on infrastructure. Don't do anything to fix immigration. Don't do anything at all except keep on harassing this president. You are going to get so crushed out of your mind when the elections roll around. You're going to be crying like babies. You see how the media freaked out over Trump getting elected? They are going to be in a meltdown of biblical proportions when he wins in a landslide against some socialist communist person that the Democrat Party thinks represents enough of America to get a vote. It is going to be comical. Just keep doing what you're doing. Number one, it gives me a lot of ammunition, and number two, it makes you look like such fools. It exposes you for the fools that you are. I don't feel this way about all Democrats. I feel this way about pretty much all Democrat politicians. But you Democrats that keep voting for him, you're getting what you deserve. Enjoy it. Folks, that's it for moving markets today. I hope the Dow's back down a little bit today, but awfully flat. It's kind of going back and forth from around 20 points down to 15 or 20 points up. Hopefully we finish to the upside today. I think just the flatness of the market is an indication that the dust is settling. We'll see what happens in the next 48 hours. Have a great day. Bye-bye.